E09 of Women of Color and Confidence. I'm your host, Amber Rose West. Thank you so much for joining me. I was going to be having a happy hour chat with my cousin, but I think she's having a little bit of nerves about being on the show. So I still wanted to come on and talk a little bit about what we were planning to talk about. It'll be a little bit of a shorter episode, but I wanted to focus in on something that has been on my mind ever since we had a conversation about it, and that is schoolhouse bullying against Black girls. This is something that I experienced when I was in school, and it's so fascinating to me that after all of these years, it's something that is still happening. And yes, I do think that kids always get bullied in school no matter what, right? It's just a part of growing up. I think it's also part of the hazing of being in school. But there's something about the type of bullying that Black girls experience that I wanted to touch on today. And now, full disclosure, I do not have any kids of my own, but I am a Black girl that was in school and experienced her own bullying. And from what I'm hearing from mothers of Black girls in school right now, it seems like there's a common theme around what kind of bullying happens to Black girls. So I think it's really important that we talk about it, and I think it's really important that we have an opinion and that we make it known that there are certain things that are happening behind the backs of parents that are really affecting our Black girls right now, and that we have a conversation about what that looks like and how you can be proactive in making sure that your kids are not engaging in this type of behavior. Not only that they're not engaging in it, but how do you handle it when it is something that's going on, right? So I've noticed a common theme in this, like, bullying against Black girls in school, is that it's usually around their racial features, right? Their skin tone, the kind of hair that they have going on. When I was a kid, I had big curly hair, and it was all over the place with a mind of its own, very much like it is right now. But when you're a kid, you don't really have any control over that, nor do you really know how to respond to someone that's making fun of you for it, right? I've definitely had people make fun of my girls as an adult, but now I'm a grown-up, right? I know what to say. I know how to feel good about myself, but our young girls who are very impressionable and also thinking about their self-image a lot, being teased for something that they can't control, being teased for something that comes naturally to them, right, really brings down their self-confidence and brings down this idea that they can have a healthy, strong self-image in their natural state, right? So I just wanted to ask, I know that Black parents are dealing with this on the back end, right? We've all had those moments where we go home crying, we go home upset because of something that happened to us in school, being bullied for what we look like. And we have to handle that ourselves, right? Have those conversations, have those tough conversations, have to remind little Black girls of their Black magic, right? Their Black girl magic. But I wanted to put a question out to you white parents, because a lot of the time the teasing that is happening is from white students, whether it be boys or girls. And when you are bullying someone or teasing someone for their Black features, it's usually because there's a difference, right? Your skin looks different than mine. Your hair looks different than mine. And so that teasing comes from the contrast of person to person based on race. So I'm curious if white parents understand the level to which this is happening to our Black girls in school. And then, we've spent so much time this year talking about BLM, so much time talking about racial equality, so much time as adults having this conversation. And I'm curious if you are having these conversations with your kids. Your kids go to public spaces, public places where Black students are. So are you having the conversation of racial equality with them so that they can take that message back to school, or are you just leaving it for the adults and allowing them to take whatever it is that they're going to take out the door, which could result in bullying of Black students? It's a real question, and I don't think that we talk about it enough. And I think that there are parents who are afraid to talk to their kids about racial equality. I think they're afraid to talk to their kids about the difference between being Black, being white, being a person of color, right? But what happens when you don't have those conversations is that we end up with students kids in school crushing the confidence of the person sitting next to them based on racial differences. So, um, you know, have you talked to your children about not teasing or bullying someone over racial differences like skin tone or hair or facial features, right? It's not okay to tease. Well, it's not okay to bully or tease anybody at all. Kids are going to be kids, and I get that. But these types of um, bullying are really about something that these girls can't change. It's going to be with them their whole lives. And if we end up making them feel bad about it as children, we give them these complexes that they carry through their whole life. I just posted on my Facebook page today a little meme that I found that said, one thing that every Black woman has in common, we tell every Black girl that her hair is beautiful. And it's like 100% across the board. Your hair is beautiful, no matter what it looks like when I see you. 100% it looks gorgeous, right? And we drill into them that they are beautiful in their natural state. Because what happens if you don't is you get a complex about it. And then you carry that and you try and change it. You try to manipulate it, right? And so, we can't change these things about ourselves in our natural states. Our hair is curly. Our hair is kinky, right? Our skin is always going to be brown. So being teased for it when we're young continues to crush our confidence as we continue to grow older, unless we do all the unraveling of the bullying and the teasing that we've been accustomed to, right? So this is going to be really harsh for you to hear, but I'm going to fucking say it. This is racism in our youth. And we don't like to think of our kids as racist, but we're literally allowing them to be racist if we allow this bullying to go on. You may not even know that your son or your daughter is a bully, a racial, racist bully, right? And the only way that you're going to know that is when you sit down with them and you talk to them about what they're doing in school, who they're talking to in school, and get their opinions about things like different skin tones, different hair textures, right? Have the conversations. We're playing it off like kids are just going to be kids, but at the end of the day, this is racism being instilled in our youth. And if we don't stop it, it's going to continue growing, and you're going to have real big issues of racism in your children as they get older, right? So what can you do, right? Where can you start? First, I just want to say, talking to them about Black people. That's it. There are differences in who we are, our cultures, our skin tone, our hair, how we speak. I get it, right? But talking to them about those differences so that when they see those differences, they don't see them as bad. Different doesn't need to be bad, but we have this narrative, especially in the USA, that if you're different than me, then you're bad and I want you over there, right? But what if different is just different, right? I'm different than you, you are different than me, but that doesn't make you better than me. It doesn't make me worse or less than you, right? Letting them know that, discrimination is bad. What you're doing by teasing someone with different skin tone or different hair texture, not only is it crushing their confidence and their self-esteem, their self-worth, their self-image, but it's discrimination, and discrimination is bad. That's racism, and racism is bad. And teaching them those words and teaching them what it looks like to be a bully doing that means that you are discriminating, means that you are being racist, and those are bad things to be. I think we really need to start talking to our youth about what that means, what that looks like for them, right? I think that they see it on a bigger scale with us, right? You don't say the N-word, and you don't point at people, or you don't do this and that, right? But what does discrimination and racism look like in our youth, in our schools? And teaching them that, when they act like that, they're acting in a way that's discriminatory, or it's racist, and we don't want them to be doing that, right? Teaching them that our differences are our beauty. Our diversity is our beauty, right? It's not ugly. Being different isn't ugly. Being Black isn't ugly, right? Our differences, our diversity is what makes us beautiful, and really reinforcing the idea that there is beauty in our differences. And then teaching them how to stick up for people that are being bullied, right? We're teaching white people this right now. This entire year we've been talking about white fragility and white allies. How can you be a better ally to the Black people in your life, right? We can teach this to our children too, right? How to stick up against a bully that's being racist against a Black girl. How do you stop it? How do you get help? How do you become an ally at a young age, right? And if these things that I'm saying to you right now sound a little, you're like, I don't know how to do this, then I think that speaks to a larger problem of the work that you can be doing right now, right? If any of the things that I said to you were like, I don't know how to talk to my kids about racism, I don't know how to let them know that they are being racist, I don't know how to teach them about the different differences in Black culture and white culture. If you don't know those things, that's where you start, right? And on top of that, if you were going to be learning those things, is there a way that you, your spouse, your children can do it together, right? Learn about it, how to be anti-racist in your home. Learn how to be anti-racist at school. Learn how to be anti-racist at work, right? This bullying and this teasing that has been, oh man, I can't, this is something that happened to me. And I'm like, it's still happening. We haven't gotten to a point where kids are not being bullied for their skin tone, especially little Black girls. Not being bullied for their skin tone, not being bullied for their hair. We're still doing that? Really? So how does it end? Where does it stop? Well, parents, starts with you, right? And if you're having a hard time figuring out how to have those conversations, or if you in your head are like, my child would never do that, you have to have the conversations anyway. So it's part of your job as a parent to figure out how to have the conversations, where the conversations need to be had, what your kids are actually doing in school. And if they are doing this, if they are bullying Black kids, it's up to you to make sure that stops with you, stops with your kid, and that you can teach your kid to be an ally, right? Even from a young age. No one is outside the spectrum of being able to stand up for someone else, and you can teach it to them, right? So I'm not going to give you your resources. I mean, there's the internet is vast, and especially this year, there are so many different types of conversational groups, books you can read, classes you can go to. Just make sure that work that you're doing is trickling down to your children, because the bullying against Black kids needs to stop. So important that it stops, so that we can continue creating Black adults that are strong and confident with a beautiful self-image. They deserve that just as much as every white kid and every white student as well. Okay? Thank you again so much for joining me. Thank you to everyone who hopped on. If you have any questions, or if you have any resources that you'd like to share, please post them in the comments below, and I will see you next time.